Namaste children. Today we will discuss about the cloning vectors. That what features that should be in a cloning vector. What is a cloning vector? Cloning vector is that vector which is responsible for the transfer of the foreign gene into the host cell. And today we will discuss about the plasmid PBR322. This is an E. coli plasmid vector. But first you should know about the vectors. That what is the function of vectors? As normally, what is the role of the vector in case of the diseases? That they are responsible for transferring of the pathogens from the infected person to the healthy person. So similarly here also, based on that principle, that these vectors, they are responsible for transforming the foreign gene which is cloned in these vectors, and then this foreign gene, it is transferred in the host cell through these vectors. So basically two vectors that are used for cloning, that are plasmid and bacteriophages. Plasmid and bacteriophages means the foreign DNA first introduced into these DNA, into the DNA of the plasmid and in the DNA of the bacteriophage, and then these plasmids, they are transformed into the host cells for producing the copies of the foreign DNA. Now the care it should be taken that the foreign gene which is introducing into these DNAs, these are the vectors here, okay. So when the gene that is introduced into the plasmid and into the bacteriophage, then the care it should be taken that it should be linked with the origin of replication, because those foreign DNA, they are not able to replicate by themselves. They use the replication process of these DNA, okay. And when the foreign DNA it is inserted, like the foreign DNA, it is inserted in the plasmid DNA, then it is introduced into the host cell. Like in case of plasmid, it is introduced into the E. coli cells. Okay. Now what they will do? These plasmids, they will produce their copy number. So when these plasmids, they produce their copy having the foreign gene, then automatically the foreign gene which is present in the vector DNA, it will also produce its own copies with the plasmid DNA. Similar that is the case with the bacteriophages. The bacteriophages having the DNA, and when the bacteriophage, they infect the host cell, they infect the host cell. What is the host cell in case of the bacteriophage? That is bacteria. That's why they named as bacteriophage, because they infect the bacteria. Okay, so here the host cell, that is the bacteria. So when the foreign gene it is introduced into this DNA, when the foreign gene it is introduced into this DNA of the bacteriophage, now it acts as a vector for the transformation of that foreign DNA into the bacteria. Okay. So what happened after that? The protein coat, it remains outside and only the DNA it will enter, and then it will produce its own copies. Okay. So in this manner, the replication of the foreign gene it occurs. Now, if we will talk about the copy number they produce per cell, means how many copies that are produced by the plasmid vector and the bacteriophages in a cell. So, basically, mainly the plasmid vectors, they produce 1 to 2 copies, and some they produce more copies like 15 to 100 copies per cell. But bacteriophages, they produce more copy numbers as compared to the plasmid vector. So this is all about the basic information regarding the plasmid and the bacteriophages. Now we will discuss about the cloning vector PBR322. Now this PBR322, this vector, that is a modified form of the vector, and it contains the selectable markers. These are the selectable markers, origin of replication that is present, and some recognition sites that are present. Now we will discuss these features in detail. Okay, so what are the basic features that should be present in a good vector? It should be origin of replication. So a good vector, a suitable vector, it should contain the origin of replication. Okay, as in the previous lecture I tell you about this thing, that the foreign gene, it can replicate only when it is linked with the origin of replication of the vector, okay, of the plasmid DNA or of the bacteriophage. So here we are talking about the plasmid DNA of E. coli, which is modified. Why it is modified? Because the normal E. coli cells, means the normal plasmid of the E. coli cells, they do not contain the selectable markers, okay, and even the recognition sites. But here the PBR322, this vector, it contains the selectable markers also, cloning sites, as well as the origin of replication. So origin of replication, it should be there in the vector, so that when the foreign gene, it is linked with the origin of replication, then only it will be able to replicate. So a vector, it should contain origin of replication. Second thing, that is the selectable marker. Now what are the selectable markers? Selectable markers means that here this shaded portion and this shaded portion, okay, this whole portion, these are the selectable markers. Here suppose this, that is tetracycline resistance gene, tetracycline resistance gene that is present, and here this is ampicillin, okay. Here I have written the short form here, that is ampicillin, AMPR, that is the short form of the ampicillin resistance gene. And here tetracycline resistance gene, you can also write in this manner. Clear? So ampicillin resistance gene that is present, and here tetracycline resistance gene that is present. Now what is the function of these genes? Means if suppose these genes, these resistance genes that are present, so from the name it is clear that this provide resistance against these antibiotics. Like tetracycline, it is a name of antibiotic, and ampicillin also, it is a name of antibiotic. So if these resistance genes that are present in the plasmid DNA, in the vector, then they provide resistance against these antibiotics. Now the next thing is that these antibiotic resistance genes, they contain the particular recognition sequence, okay, which are known as the cloning sites, okay, like BAM-H1 and SAL1. BAM-H1 and SAL1, they are present in the tetracycline resistance gene, and PDU1, PST1, they are present in the ampicillin region, okay. So what is the function of these recognition sites? What are recognition sites? These recognition sites that are for particular restriction enzymes, okay, means here like SAL1. So here this sequence, it can be cut only by the particular specific restriction enzyme which is responsible to cut here, to cut the SAL1 restriction site, okay. Like EcoR1 you have done. So EcoR1, it is responsible for producing a cut at GAATTC sequence. So these are also the sequence, okay. Means here the recognition site that is present for this enzyme, for the SAL1 enzyme. Here the recognition site that is present for BAM-H1 enzyme, restriction enzyme, okay. So if suppose we will provide the BAM-H1 restriction enzyme, then it will produce cut here only. So that's why these are known as the recognition site. So what is the need to cut the these sequences. Why? To produce the rDNA, to produce the recombinant DNA. Okay, so when restriction enzymes that are provided, then only they produce the cut here. So that's why the particular recognition sequences that are present. Okay, and what is the reason that why these recognition sites they are present in the resistance gene region, like BAM-H1 and SAL1, they are present in which region? In the tetracycline resistance gene and PBU1 and PST1. These recognition sites they are present in which region? In the ampicillin resistance gene they are present. What is the reason behind? So that to select the recombinants from the non-recombinants. Okay, to select the recombinant plasmid. The host cell having the recombinant, they can be selected from the host cell which do not contain the recombinant plasmid DNA. That you will come to know when you will discuss about the plating process for the selection of the recombinants from the non-recombinant DNA. Okay, so now let's discuss about the ROP here. ROP, it is responsible for coding the proteins which are required for the DNA replication. Okay, and here some more other restriction enzymes that are present like EcoR1, that is CLE1 and HINT3. Okay, but here we will discuss the role of basically tetracycline resistance gene and this region, ampicillin resistance gene and tetracycline resistance gene. It should be clear to you. Okay, so what are the selectable markers here? Tetracycline resistance gene and ampicillin resistance gene, these are the selectable markers. And cloning sites, these are the BAM-H1, SAL1, PBU1, PST1 in case of the resistance genes. Okay, now let's discuss about the recombinant DNA and the non-recombinant DNA. Okay, so this is the modified plasmid vector. But if we will talk about the normal E. coli, the normal E. coli plasmid, then it will not contain the resistance genes. The resistance genes that are not present in this means the tetracycline and the ampicillin genes that are not present here. Tetracycline gene that is not present and even the ampicillin resistance gene that is also not present. Okay. So this is about the normal E. coli plasmid. Next is this is the modified PPR322, but means this case, but the foreign gene that is not present in it, like this. It is having tetracycline resistance gene also, as well as the ampicillin resistance gene that is also present in this case. Okay, but the foreign gene that is not present. So it is considered as non-recombinant. And this is also non-recombinant, but it is a normal E. coli plasmid. But it is having the resistance gene, but still the foreign gene that is not introduced into this. So this is known as non-recombinant. Okay, why I am telling this? That what is the need of the selectable marker? That why the selectable marker that should be required in the vector? So that I am explaining here. Okay. Now next is this one, that is the recombinant. Now how the recombinant DNA that is produced? Suppose the foreign gene that is introduced into this region, Okay, means in the tetracycline resistance gene. If suppose the foreign gene, the foreign DNA, it is introduced into the tetracycline resistance gene, then this tetracycline resistance gene, it will become inactivated, because when the foreign DNA that is inserted in that portion, so that portion of the tetracycline, it has to be removed. So if this plasmid DNA without having the tetracycline resistance gene, if this will provide resistance against tetracycline or not. It will not provide resistance against the tetracycline, because now the tetracycline resistance gene, it is not present here. Okay. Now next is this is here ampicillin. Ampicillin resistance gene that is present here. Okay. Now this plasmid DNA having the foreign DNA as well as the ampicillin resistance gene that is present, it means that this DNA, it shows resistance against the ampicillin medium only. Means if suppose you will grow the E. coli bacteria having this plasmid, then it will be able to grow in the ampicillin medium only, but not in the tetracycline, because the tetracycline gene, it become inactivated. Okay, because the foreign DNA that is inserted. Clear? And here, if suppose we will talk about this non-recombinant DNA, so here also tetracycline and ampicillin resistance, both the genes that are present, because the DNA that is not introduced into this. Clear? So that's why it will be able to grow in the tetracycline medium also, as well as in the ampicillin medium also. And here, if suppose we will talk about the normal E. coli plasmid DNA, this vector, it does not contain anything, means not even the ampicillin and not even the tetracycline. So it will not be able to grow in both the cases. Okay? Means it will not be able to grow in the ampicillin medium as well as in the tetracycline medium. Now, what is the reason of this BAM-H1 and SAL1? Means like these recognition sites, why these are required, as already discussed, that to provide cut in the resistance genes. Okay. Now next question is that why the DNA that is introduced in this portion only, as the restriction sites that are present here also, like the EcoR1 restriction site that is present here also. So why the foreign DNA that is not inserted in this region, and the foreign DNA, it can be inserted only in the region of the restriction gene, means here or either here. Why? What is the purpose for that? So that is for the selection of the recombinant from the non-recombinant. Now how the selection process that is carried out? Let's discuss. Now children, you know this thing that the foreign DNA, it is introduced into the plasmid DNA, and then it is known as the recombinant DNA. Okay. Now after this recombinant DNA, it is introduced into the host cell. So if suppose we are using PBR322 as a vector, then the host organism, it will be E. coli. Okay, because this plasmid, it is isolated from the E. coli bacteria. So that's why in this case the host organism, it will be the E. coli. So how we can select the recombinant from the non-recombinant? Now what is actually this non-recombinant? Means that when we introduce the foreign DNA into the plasmid DNA, then some of the plasmid DNA, they will remain like that only, means the DNA that is not introduced into those vectors, and they are known as the non-recombinants. And the plasmid DNA having the foreign DNA, they known as recombinant DNA. So in some E. coli bacteria, the non-recombinants that are introduced, and in some the recombinants that are present, and in some the normal means the DNA, the normal plasmid DNA not having any kind of the restriction gene. So that also introduced. So how we can select? How we can select the recombinant DNA from out of the normal or the non-recombinants? Okay. Otherwise, the normal plasmid DNA, they also come under the non-recombinant category only. So there is a plating method for the selection of the recombinant DNA, recombinants from the non-recombinants. First plating, so what is the first plating and the second plating here? Means if suppose the DNA that is introduced in this site, means in the tetracycline resistance gene, then first plating it should be in the ampicillin medium, means the another medium, in the another medium. And if suppose the foreign DNA it is introduced into this region in the ampicillin resistance gene, then the first plating it should be in the tetracycline medium. If this point that is clear to all of you, so we introduce the first DNA in the tetracycline region. So that's why we have taken the ampicillin medium here. Okay, so that is the reason. Because if suppose we will take the tetracycline resistance, then the E. coli cells they will not be able to grow. The recombinant one they will not be able to grow. So that's why we have to take the another one. Okay. Here the DNA that is introduced, so that's why we have taken the ampicillin medium. So first plating it should be in the ampicillin medium, and second we have to take that only where the DNA that is introduced. So this is the process. So second in the tetracycline medium. So what happened in case of the ampicillin medium, that when the E. coli cells that are introduced in the ampicillin medium, then what happened? The normal cells which do not contain any of the restriction gene, okay, so they not able to grow in the ampicillin medium. Now the non-recombinants having, because they are non-recombinants, they have both ampicillin as well as the tetracycline resistance gene, because the foreign DNA that is not present. So both the genes that are present in the active form, so that's why they are able to grow, because they have ampicillin resistance gene in their plasmid DNA. And the third is recombinant DNA. As the foreign DNA it is introduced in this portion, in the tetracycline region. Okay, so that's why the tetracycline gene it will become inactivated. So they have only one resistance gene, that is ampicillin. So that's why they also able to grow. So in this medium, the normal cells that are not able to grow. So in this manner, we will select the recombinant as well as the non-recombinant both DNA. Okay. And now in this second plating, these recombinants it can be selected from the non-recombinant ones. Let's see here that in the second plating, it should be done in that medium from where, means in that portion where the DNA that is introduced. So DNA that is introduced in the tetracycline, we introduce DNA in the tetracycline region. So that's why the second plating it should be in the tetracycline medium. Now when the E. coli cells having the recombinant as well as non-recombinant cells that are introduced in this medium, so in case of the non-recombinants, they have both ampicillin as well as tetracycline, so they will be able to grow. But in case of the recombinant DNA, as they have the foreign DNA, but the tetracycline gene that is not present and only the ampicillin that is present, and here which medium that is present? Tetracycline medium, so they are not able to grow. Okay, so in this manner we will select the recombinant DNA from the non-recombinants, because they make the colonies but they are not able to make the colonies in that medium. So in this manner the selection process it happens, means two plating methods that are required, two platings that are required. Now next is that cloning sites it should be only of one kind, means if suppose BAM H1 we are using, so BAM H1 it should be only one. Okay, means one cloning site should be there of each kind of the restriction enzyme. Why? What is the reason behind? If suppose the BAM H1 it is present here also, it is present here also, it is present here also, then when we introduce the BAM H1 restriction enzyme, then it will produce the multiple cuts. Means it will produce cut here also, here. Means wherever the recognition site, if suppose more than one cloning sites that are present, so it will produce so many cut and it will make the process complicated. Okay, so I think this topic that is clear to you.